Hello and welcome to day one of my 10-minute trainings. So over the next 10 to 12 days, I'm going to be posting a little short video for you, 10 minutes or under, of guidance, advice, a bit of the latest research on what you can do to really look after your own brain health, because I need to get real with you for a minute. Dementia is the number one killer in the UK for women, the number one killer. And you and I, as women, are twice as likely to develop it than our male counterparts. Now, the research is still going on as to why. There are many potential reasons why. But until we get to the point of knowing exactly how we can prevent it, I'm going to share with you the science-backed tips that I've discovered through my reading and my research and listening to various podcasts and experts that will really help you 10x your brain health and significantly reduce your risk of dementia, because I don't want to get dementia myself. I don't want anybody within my friendship group or my community to experience it, because I know only too well the emotional, the physical, the financial risks and challenges and strains that come with any diagnosis of dementia. And so why wouldn't we look after our brain? I mean, that's the first question I want to ask you today. Why wouldn't we look after our brain? When I do my masterclasses and when I work with my individual clients, when I ask people, how's your brain? How's your brain health? I get this blank look back, because most people, if they're honest with me, have never thought about their brain health. And maybe I wouldn't be thinking about my brain health if I hadn't had the challenges in my own family with dementia diagnosis. So we need to think about what's happening with our brain, and why would we not? Because our brain is us. All our emotions, all our thoughts, our beliefs, our values, who we are, is in our brain. So why would we not look after it? Most people, if we're being honest, are most concerned with what this looks like and what the body looks like and whether they've had Botox and how many wrinkles they've got. Too concerned with the outside and not so concerned with the inside. So I'm going to share some tips that will really help you think about how you can make your brain feel better, and things you can do to start to consider that incredible thing that you have behind your eyes and between your ears. Your most valuable, your most precious possession, your most precious organ, which I believe is the brain. And why is dementia becoming such an issue for women in particular? Well, there are lots of theories as to why. All the research that I do, that I've done over the years and that I do regularly so I can keep you up to date, there are lots of ideas, there is lots of science behind why there is such a pandemic, such an epidemic of this disease happening. But why is it in women in particular? That's still being researched. However, one thing that's becoming really clear is the role of inflammation in brain disease. Now, when we're talking about inflammation, we're not talking about just the sort that you get when you sprain your wrist or you go over on your ankle. That one you can see, where you get heat, you get swelling, you get redness, you get reduction movement. It's not that sort of inflammation that the scientists are talking about. What they're talking about is inflammation at the microscopic level that we can't see. And it's talking about inflammation which is in all of your body, in your brain, in your blood vessels, in all your other organs. And this isn't inflammation that we can just give a drug to and it shuts it off. It's a different type of inflammation. It's not the sort where our brain goes, oh, ouch, I need a tablet to get over this. It's much more insidious than that. Because too much inflammation means that our cells basically don't talk to each other properly. They don't communicate properly. There's damage to the cells and they don't talk to each other properly. And that is a process. It's if you like, it's a cascade. There's many different factors involved. And that's why we can't just have one tablet to stop it. It's like looking at a roof and you've got 36 holes in that roof, and you find a plug that will plug one of the holes, but you've still got 35 other holes. That's the problem with dementia and Alzheimer's disease, is that it's so multifactorial. You can't ever, at the moment, what the science is saying is there's not going to be one tablet because there's lots of different things. One area of the brain that is particularly badly affected with inflammation is the hippocampus. Fancy name, basically your short-term memory center. And I'm going to be talking about this in a little bit more detail further down the line when we're talking about how your brain is affected and the sorts of foods that you need to eat to stop that from happening. So it's the short-term memory part of your brain that is really badly affected in Alzheimer's disease. And that's something that we hear a lot of, isn't it? When people start to forget faces, names, what things are used for. So it's the short-term memory. And the issue with Alzheimer's disease and dementia of any type is that the stage that we see when people start to get diagnosed, that's way, way, way down the line. The problems start much, much earlier in life. And that's why I am talking about this now, because we need to be looking in midlife at our brain health, maybe even before, but certainly in midlife, in your 40s and certainly in your 50s and 60s, we need to be looking at brain health and considering brain health. The great Dr. Lisa Mosconi, who's a very well-renowned scientist and researcher, what she says is that dementia is a disease of old age that starts in midlife. So we need to look at the midlife years, and that's why you're here now, and that's why you're listening, and that's the information that you're going to get to help you right now to look after your brain health. And I'm all about prevention. I'm the daughter of a facial surgeon, and so anything to do with looking after our teeth, prevention was key. So I've been brought up understanding the concept of prevention. And in our Western world nowadays, prevention isn't always something that we think about. Maybe you think about preventing getting yourself some dental caries when you're your dentist, but often we don't think about prevention. And that's the absolute key to getting Alzheimer's, because once you start to get the symptoms, there's an issue there. The brain is already being damaged and it's already being deteriorated, if you like. So there are some real key things that I'm going to be talking about over the next 10 to 12 days. The key things that I'm going to be talking about to help you understand maybe just a little bit more about how your brain works and key strategies that you can put into place. Because what I'm talking about here is improving your health span, not just your lifespan, but your health span. So what we're noticing is that people are living longer, but they're not healthier. How many people in your family of older years do you know that are on a whole cocktail of medication? And often those drugs don't make them feel great. How great would it be if you didn't have to take any medication as you got older? If you were looking after your body enough to know that you'd put the things in place to not need blood pressure tablets, to not need heart tablets, to not need any other sort of medication, that you could actually look after yourself without needing to take any of that medication because you were healthy. So we need to look at prevention as the key to keeping us healthy as we're getting older. And why is that important? Because actually you want a healthy life, not just a long life. You want to feel well, don't you? You want to feel vibrant. I know when I'm older, I want to be able to climb mountains and take my dogs on a walk and easily travel and not have to be pushed around in a wheelchair or have a frame to walk with. I want to be able to do the things that I want to do when I'm older without having to be restricted by my health or my physical abilities. And when you think about being ill, all you can think about is wanting to get better again. But when these lifestyle changes and lifestyle diseases take hold of us, often there isn't a getting better. It's a learning to live with. Well, I don't want to get to that point. I am absolutely determined to put things in place now that will stop me from developing these diseases later on. So that's my thought for you for today, is I want you to start to think about your health in preventative terms. So not reactive, not reacting when something happens, but preventative terms. And that might be to do with your diet, your exercise, your stress levels, all of those things I'm going to cover. But as I'm coming up to the end of my 10 minutes, that's the thing I want to leave you with today. I want you to shift your mindset to think about preventative healthcare. What can you do to think about your health for the future and maybe make some changes now that are going to really affect your future life? So that is my takeaway for today. I'm going to be back every day for the next 10 to 12 days with just my 10 minutes of training. Keep a lookout for it, and thank you for listening. Bye for now.